final match of the Iron Gauntlet tonight for our live stream schedule, the quarterfinals match. We have quite the game for you guys. I'm Will Schick.
Hi, I'm Will Pagani.
Hola.
Hola.
Muy bien. All right, so it's been a long, fun day of streaming. We have completed a Masters event today and crowned a champion for Masters in the last chance qualifier for the Iron Gauntlet here at Lock and Load.
Which really was quite a unique list.
It was.
It was Grim 1 with a Sea King, 2 War Wagons, and a Hooch Hauler.
And a Hooch Hauler.
All in Krill Company.
It was
Love it. Crazy list.
Crazy list. And it absolutely dominated the competition here. It was amazing to watch it played. A lot of skill on that list. Tonight, for our last game of the event, we have another really interesting one, I think, for everyone. It's going to be another Crix versus Mercs matchup.
Yes.
Last time's game wasn't enough. The grudge match continues between these two factions.
Unfortunately, we don't have any more Constance Blaze this time.
No.
Which makes me very sad.
It is
Constance
unfortunate.
Blaze is awesome.
She had the moment to live the dream, and the dice just weren't with her.
She could have got there. So we do have another Asphyxious 3 list playing 9 Slayers once again. We, of course, have a Sifron on the list because you can't make an Asphyxious 3 list without one. It's also got 3 Night Wretches, a Soul Trapper, a Machine Wraith, and Ironmongers. So it's actually identical to the list that was played last time. Aaron Whaley here in the green shirt is great friends with Keith Christensen, the gentleman that was on the stream last time. So they were playing the exact same list. So
they have theoried it up together. Well, facing off against that, this is Corey. He's coming to you hot with Magnus the Warlord, my favorite Magnus.
Yep.
So we've got Magnus the Warlord, 2 Nomads, a Vanguard, as well as Anastasia Debray, Iris Mage Hunter of Ios, Gorman DeWolf, the Rogue Alchemist, Ragman, Hutchuck, the Ogre and Bounty Hunter, and then all the Steelhead Halberdiers you could ever possibly want.
Just 52, I believe.
2 min units, 4 max units of Steelhead Halberdiers.
52.
I honestly think this list should win simply based on the fact that many Steelheads exist in a person's collection.
And painted.
Yeah, and painted, too. It's amazing. And then last but not least, what are Steelheads good for? Well, they're good to turn into skeletons because that's why you bring Alexia and her Risen. So Alexia Cianor and the Risen, basically the Steelhead Halberdiers are the gift that keeps on giving because they'll just never go away.
Yep. I feel like we should have like a Risen counter.
Yeah?
Like
just on screen that just ticks up, little smiley skeleton face. Tony, get on it. All right, Tony said 1 second, so I believe that he's not going to do it, but...
But you know what? We could give it a shot.
All right, so let's talk about our scenario for tonight. In this last one, it's the classic Outlast.
Absolutely.
People love this one.
It's got 2 circle zones there, which is really great for the 52 Steelheads and really not great for the Slayers. These zones are indeed scored by units, of which Corey, on our left side of the table here, has a lot.
Yes. So many.
And then, of course, our Slayers over here have exactly 1, which is a unit of Ironmongers.
They'll be getting plenty of stuff done then.
Yes. So those Ironmongers are actually pretty important for Aaron because there is only real way to score those zones besides Asphyxious.
Yes.
And Asphyxious does not really like wandering around the middle of the table. He likes to die a lot if that happens.
Yeah.
He almost died to Constance Blaze last game.
He did.
That's not the place he wants to be. So... he really wants the unit to be able to take over these zones. He doesn't want to have to expose himself and be threatened by these Steelheads. Because while Steelheads are not exactly the greatest fighters, there's 52 of them.
I think it's interesting, too, how you talk about how this is the exact list we saw in last game. Last game, it was Recon, so a scenario that favors a pretty heavy battle group because it's 2 rectangular zones. You can only be scored by battle group models. So I feel like there's a little bit of karmic scale sliding going on here. It's 9 Slayers in Recon 2, great. 9 Slayers in here, Outlast, maybe not so much.
Yeah, maybe not the best in terms of scenario. And that is one of the things that happened was the scenario pressure ended up to be too much for Constance, so she had to go for an assassination.
Right.
So...
And found that 6s are the hardest number to roll ever.
Apparently that is true because there was a lot of missed 6s that game. A lot of Mat 7 things charged. Didn't go so well.
Yeah. All right. So I'm excited to see this match. Both players really good. This is an interesting match as well, just based on tournament positioning, because this is a pair-down match.
Yes.
So Aaron is our currently undefeated player going into this match, whereas Corey has lost a game. So the results are kind of, it's really important for Aaron to win, but Corey also wants to climb his way back up because based on our current tournament standings, that might actually benefit him over the long term in terms of the placement.
Absolutely. So this pair downs, of course, they have the chance to cut rounds and stuff. So If we want a longer tournament, we're voting for Aaron here. I would love to stream all the games tomorrow, so I want a longer tournament. So I'm really rooting for Aaron here, even though I do love Corey. He has a beautiful beard. A beautiful beard.
It's all about the beard. So we just got informed that after deployment happens here, both Aaron and Corey want to have a little pregame spiel where they're going to talk about some things and set expectations and all that good stuff. So you'll notice that once deployment happens, the clock will pause. That is not because of a rules question or anything like that. It's just our players want to have this moment to take care of that stuff.
Yep, I think they want to talk about the terrain a little bit, what they're going to do with the different scenario stuff, that kind of thing. Talk about expectations, rerolls, that kind of stuff. So I think that's really nice because there can be some pretty bad interactions between players that judges will have to adjudicate if you don't discuss these things before your game, right? Like where one person expects one thing, the other person expects another thing.
Right.
And really, I think no one wins in this kind of situation here. And both players end up kind of feeling cheated because they didn't have this discussion before the game.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's one of those things we talk about a lot in Insiders and things. Like any game, tabletop miniatures game, otherwise, is a social contract. Like you're coming together with other people who have different desires, expectations, wants, and coming to a common ground of that stuff just means that everybody walks away with a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyment. So Iris is going to get placed for advanced deploy, and then we're going to see that clock pause. So while they do that, why don't you talk? Let's talk about thoughts about the match. What's going to happen here?
Sure. So we do have all these slayers, which we have seen before.
Yep.
We saw these last round, and we talked about how they are good at killing infantry, but they're not like super good at killing infantry, right? Like they can go to pretty high mat with the curse from the Ironmongers.
Yep.
And they do a lot of trampling to deal with those things. So trampling is not super great against reach models.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of steelheads over there, and they all have reach. So when you start trampling through these things, you're going to take a lot of free strikes. Of course, you ignore the free strikes for the models you pass over, but not necessarily the ones that you go by.
Right.
So that's not necessarily the best option here. And then, once again, we talked about this a lot in the last game. Slayers have a 1-inch melee range.
Right.
You usually can't get too many infantry in there. So if you get 2, great. If you get 3, it's
you're
a party.
having like an amazing
if
day.
it's 4, something has gone kind of weird, I think. If it's 5, you could just throw a party immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Night Wretches, those are going to be great here. There's going to be a lot of relatively low arm infantry running around. The blast damage can be boosted. Very, very relevant. Very relevant here. Asphyxious, I don't think he's going to have a super great feat this turn, or this game, right? Like, Corey can choose to play these Nomads a little more aggressively, and that's fantastic. But I think he can also buy a turn with his feat if he wants, so he doesn't have to use his Nomads.
Yep.
And generally speaking, this Magnus list is very, very aggressive on scenario, like super duper aggressive. So I'm going to see. I'm going to bet Corey's going to pick a side that's going to be a little weaker in terms of scenario pressure. And with that scenario pressure, he is then going to push super duper hard to make Aaron commit into bad trades, into bad tramples, into things to contest those zones. Immediately from me checking out here, I'm looking at this southern zone down here. This is to me where Corey's really going to apply his pressure because Aaron's deployed a lot of his Slayers up there on the north half of the map.
And he's split definitely by those 2 obstructions.
Yes. So if he can, if he can jump, if he can like just jam up all those northern Slayers. So yeah, we're here up at the top. Let's get a little telestration action going. So this is where I think Aaron's going to have a problem. This little thing right here.
Oh, those are the gates of hell right there.
Yes.
We're gonna see some 300 action
This is where the fire comes up.
Yeah.
From Steelhead Hell. This isn't fire. This is smoke clouds.
Those are chemical smoke clouds. Yes.
Yeah. So we've already just run Magnus to here, right?
Yep.
So I think the next plan, or the plan next turn would be, my guess, is feet charge and just fail a charge over here somewhere. And he's going to pick this board edge for his feet and probably this board edge. Or I guess, hold on, I got this backwards, right? Because it's things you can't move towards, so it's that way, and that way.
Yep.
And what that's going to do is it's going to put Magnus about there. For those of you that don't know, Magnus's feat is called Killbox. What it does is you choose 2 board edges, and then enemy models in your control area cannot advance towards those board edges. Right. So if Magnus is here, any Slayer that's here cannot go this way, cannot go this way. If he can score this flag with a solo, he can score this flag with infantry or Magnus or anything like that. He's going to be able to score 2 points here. So 1 point here, 1 point here
for the flag
on his turn, and then Aaron won't be able to get back into the zone So he'll score, hopefully, if things are going well for Corey, he'll score 2 more points.
His only real option is going to be to try to kill the guy on the flag.
So kill the guy on the flag will be great. You can also cast mobility, and these little warjacks back here, they get to run pretty far. They go up to speed 9, so they can run 18. So your goal is probably to leave one of them like way back here, so he can skirt around here. He can get in that way to stop this from scoring. The problem here, though, is there are going to be like 40 steelheads.
There's an amazing amount of steelheads, and they're all going to be coming back as Risen.
Yes.
Which
So
I got to give credit where credit's due. Tony has generated us in moments a Risen counter.
look at that.
It's right there.
I hope we can get this Risen counter pretty high. We started off with 52 steelheads. We'll see if we can get to 52 Risen. Oh, actually, Tony, we start with, I believe, 6 Risen? 10 9 Risen?
9 Risen.
9 Risen on the board at the
Risen.
start of the game. We got to start with 9. And we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Tony. Beautiful.
So, quick discussion about threat ranges here going on. And there is the Big Daddy. Is that the 13 measuring stick right there?
That is the 14. That
14.
is the one
That is the 14.
with our Infernal Master on it.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It is. It
Beautiful.
is an impressive stick. When you put that on the table, you know,
Oh,
without
boy.
a doubt, things have gotten real.
It's 14 inches.
Yes.
That's how you know what's going on. But this is a lock and load exclusive stick brought to us by Broken Egg Games here.
And Broken Egg Games is going to be releasing the 11, 12, 13, and 14 sticks to general public. They will have different artwork, faction released artwork. For Lock and Load, like you said, these were just exclusives. They have unique concept artwork of the Infernals and a couple of the other things we showed off at the keynote. And
actually, I think it's one from each of the limited factions.
Limited factions. Okay.
So we've got Orion on there. We've got Prospero from Crucible Guard. We've got a Cage Rager, and then of course we have the new Infernal guy that we showed off in the keynote yesterday. It's all blending together.
It was yesterday. Doesn't feel like it was, but it was definitely yesterday.
Yes.
All right, so a decent amount of pressure on both board edges, actually, at this point. The steelheads have kind of split well across the frontage. Now, he has so many, why not?
Yeah, but really I think Magnus is what Aaron needs to worry about, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Wherever Magnus is where the scenario pressure is going to be. So Magnus is down there by that southern zone. That northern zone, those steelheads can't really kill these slayers, right? like they're not real great.
They can try.
Sure, they can try. They can try. But I think the entire idea here is just to eat up time and to get hit and stuff like that. So
Lexi getting right in the middle of it all.
Yep.
So that she can start popping out Risen.
She's ready for the Risen counter. These Risen are moving up. And once again, the entire point of these Risen is just to be in the way. Like, these steelheads, I don't think they're looking to do much work. I think they're here. They're just hanging out. They're chilling. They just want to stand in the way of stuff.
And they just want to get paid. That's it.
A lot of poor steelheads are going to get punched in the face.
All right. So here we come. Aaron definitely seeing the danger that he's in here as far as scenario pressure goes.
Yes.
To try to push as fast as possible into that lower zone.
And I think Aaron can afford to be just very aggressive here, right? Like, I don't think he really needs to worry too much about getting charged by this stuff. I think he can really afford to just take the charge from all these steelheads. And I think, honestly, he's got to. He's got to do it. So.
Well, what's the point of bringing 9 Slayers if you're not willing to lose a couple of them to put pressure on and not lose in the CP game? But
so
yeah,
Steelhead Halberdiers are Mat 5, POW 11.
Yeah, they have the CMA.
They have CMA, and they've got powerful charge.
And they're a little more accurate on the charge for sure. Going up to a 7, needing 6s to hit a Slayer. It's not terrible. Not terrible.
Well, I mean, we say that, but Constance plays last game.
I know. Well, I was going to say, but 6s are hard. So ideally, you want it to be a 4 or 5.
Yes. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't think their POW is particularly great. Like, it's only 11.
I mean, it's 11.
So it's going to be dice off 8, which is nothing amazing. But I think if they 2-man, right, they go down to 4s to hit. So you're very likely to hit. You go to POW 13, which is dice off 6, which is solid.
Well, they have the 2-inch. They have the 2-inch range, so like you can stack a whole bunch of them together. It's possible to get 8 to maybe even 10 if the worlds align and everything's perfect.
Sure. In Magical Christmas Land,
Yeah.
you can get all 10 steelheads on some Slayers.
I mean, you're not going to, right? You're going to get maybe 6 if you're having a really good turn.
Yep. So Aaron has pointed out immediately that he needs Ragman to be not in this game. So he has run up one of his Arknotes that will certainly die this next round. And he is just going to remove Ragman immediately because that does make these steelheads a pretty big threat, right? When they're all 13,
you don't want to deal with Dark Shroud.
You don't want to deal with that.
No.
So removing Ragman immediately is absolutely worth the trade for this poor little Bone Jack that is going to probably say hello to a Nomad if I
Probably.
So
maybe even a Magnus. I mean, you were saying how the failed charge needed to put Magnus right there. That's right where Magnus wants to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, right? Like, Magnus can just go right here. He can punch him.
You can punch him with the fist, knock him down, and then start stabbing him with Foe Cleaver. Like, there's so much good stuff that could happen right there.
So much stuff. I'm going to bet we end up with a Slayer here, and I'm not even really worried about all of this right now, honestly. I think this right here is going to turn into a giant gum where no one's going to get anything done. Is my guess.
It's just going to be where models go to live.
Yep, or we'll die. In case of the Steelheads, the Slayers will be fine.
That's why you pay Steelheads, though. You pay them to die.
Yep. So I think this entire north section right here, probably pretty irrelevant. The vast majority of this game is going to be played around this flag and this zone right here. This is going to have about 1 trillion Steelheads in here, so I don't think there's going to be too much scoring on Aaron's perspective from this. So I'm interested to see how this all plays out, see if it goes how I'm thinking it's going to go here.
I mean, you've already got one Slayer winding up pretty much right where you drew their first circle. That second Slayer is definitely going to wind up there.
I was pretty good at
you did predict really well in the last game.
Guessing Slayer spots in the last game.
You're like a Slayer clairvoyant.
Yes.
So, I mean, the real question is, once those 2 Slayers get in there, Magnus can gum up the works. He can use Killbox to slow him down. But, again, how do you remove 2 Slayers plus a Bone Jack at this point so you can start scoring right away?
Well, I think, man, that is perfect. Did I guess that or what?
You nailed it. You nailed it right there. And actually, there are 3 Slayers.
Yeah, we got a 3rd Slayer in there. Okay.
You missed one.
So it seems pretty unlikely that we're going to kill all 3 of these Slayers.
Yep.
Which probably means that Corey is going to go for an attrition play. He will probably feat this turn. So if I had to guess, once again, I called the entire bottom half of this map the plan. Magnus is probably going to charge on in, hit that Bone Jack.
Yep.
The Nomad, if I had to guess, once again, is going to end up charging. Let's get a little telestration going here. I'm going to bet Magnus is going to charge in, hit this Bone Jack.
Yep.
He's going to feat. He's going to pick this board edge. He's going to pick this board edge, which is going to basically seed all of this part of the map. You're just not worried about it, right? There will be about 1 million Risen and about 1 million Steelheads in there.
1 million.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Approximately
1
Rough
million.
math says 1 million.
So if Magnus kills the Bone Jack, this Nomad, my guess, will charge down to here and try and kill this Slayer. We'll get a couple Steelhead charges in, maybe 2, 3 Steelheads in there. A couple more Steelheads will hang out in this area right here to make sure that Magnus stays safe. And then next turn, we're going to try and set up a charge, so hopefully this Slayer will die. Next turn, the Nomad can kill this Slayer right here. And then you just swarm in with your Steelheads and try and put like 15 Steelheads on each Slayer, right? And take your Mat 5 Pal 11s and just really get in there.
And given that we already said that getting 10 Steelheads on a Jack would be Magical Christmas Land.
Which is my favorite land.
15 each.
My favorite Christmas land.
That's probably like all the holiday Christmas lands ever.
And so what that'll do then is if you can kill this next turn, kill this the turn after that, kill this with Steelheads, kill this with Magnus over 2 rounds, you can then start scoring the zone and just put as many bodies as you can right here.
Yeah, and going around the objectives is going to be too slow to really be effective. You've also got all the Risen in the middle. You've got all the extra Steelheads in the middle.
Yep.
And if you overcommit to that lower side, I mean, Corey has all of the dudes in the world to start scoring the north side. So he's pretty flexible here as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Aaron's flexible as well, right? Like these 3 Slayers are great position, right? They just need to get a little teeny tiny toe in this zone next turn. But if Magnus goes to here, it will lock all of this stuff out. Like 12 inches is probably looking something like that. So all of these models will be locked out of this scenario zone. So over 2 turns, Corey can clear this zone. He can score a point. If Corey is able to score points on Aaron's turn, it's going to go very south very quickly for Aaron. So he needs to make sure that doesn't happen. This Slayer right here might be a little aggressively placed. This is a Nomad. Not an
Yeah.
amazing Warjack. Like, it's not 6 POW 18, so
Oh,
it's not.
whoa.
It's-
Nomads are one of the best Warjacks ever.
Well, I mean, when I say not amazing, I mean, like, it doesn't have great stats, but it's obviously, like, a very solid Warjack, right? So, like, if this guy charges down to here, goes here, you put about 1 trillion steelheads, like, in this area, this is a pretty safe Nomad, especially if these guys can't move this direction. You've got this 1 Slayer, this 2 Slayer that have to deal with all the steelheads that are here. You've got some of your Arc Nodes hanging out back here. I feel decent that this Nomad could live and this Nomad could live if that is what happens, right? So here we go. We got a Hutchuk coming in. The fact that he's putting him down here on this board edge really makes me believe that is really his plan, is to just really
that is his
really
chosen
go in
zone.
there. So
Absolutely.
he's committing to this. We have a proxy declaration with this Hutchuk. This is not necessarily a final position. He's going to check out and see if a play is an option here.
I mean, getting a Rust Bomb on that lower Slayer
or
would
a Quake
be huge.
would be amazing
Quake would
as
be
well.
amazing as well. Knock it down. Like you said, the Nomads only are mat 6.
Yep.
Against most Warjacks, that's pretty solid. Against Slayers at Def 13, that's a lot harder.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think he's going to wind up Quaking one of his own.
Well, Quake requires an enemy model, so the fact that he's probably planning for his own model
Rust Bomb here.
sounds like a Rust to me. Looks like he's trying to Rust both.
Because it's AoE of 4 on his grenades because they're so big.
Is it? Is his 4?
Maybe?
I'm pretty sure.
It looks like those two would be out of a 3, though, to me.
I agree. I'm not sure this is going to work out here.
Let's see. I got Hutchuk right here. No, he's only AoE 3. So I'm not entirely sure if that's going to catch all of them. And game state goes awry. So, yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious what the plan is here, because that doesn't look like it's within a 3 to me.
All right. Does look like we've committed to our Hutchuk placement. So Hutchuk is down there. Looks like we've got another little proxy coming out here. That looks like a Magnus proxy to me.
Definitely does, yeah. I agree. I mean, I think that placement's right. Absolutely, if I was in Corey's shoes, I would be
And
charging
I
that
think
Bone Jack.
you're going to get all of this, right? Like, that's amazing.
It's great placement. Plus, you're talking about the super protection from that obstruction. Like, there's no real play that's going to endanger Magnus for that turn after his.
If that's 12 inches, I think we're into blowout territory.
Oh. Are we in Magical Christmas Land again?
I think we might be in Magical Christmas Land if that's 12
Is it
inches.
starting to snow right now?
Oh, it's so close. No. They're checking it on here. They're calling a judge to see the distance here.
Yep, just seeing if that other arc node is going to be affected by it.
Look at these beautiful Louisiana hands. My
So
God.
we're going to get a pause here as they do the
They're as steady as humanly possible.
very close check. Oh,
Oh.
we're calling in Dallas.
Oh, he has a
Dallas
steady
count.
hand? It's a painter's hand.
It's a painter's hand. I mean, there's nothing steadier.
This is how Dallas
This is basically
gets his stream going here.
look at that hand. There's not even a waver. It's stone cold.
It is. It is.
Dallas claiming that he's shaky. I'm like, I don't even see anything.
Yeah, I don't see anything
I haven't seen
moving.
movement once.
It's the most steady hand I've ever seen.
I'm sure to Dallas's trained painter eyes, it's like a friggin' earthquake's going on right now. He's like, this is madness.
All right, so we are just short on the arc node there. And the clock is unpaused.
So we'd miss out on that one arc node.
Corey is wondering if he goes there, will Magnus die? They're talking about assassination options.
So we're looking at the escort cost here right now,
Yep.
plus the
Plus camping 2 is the plan.
Yep. So we're checking the charge line.
So they're agreeing that they do not have to move the steelheads first. The Magnus can go first.
And we're going to check to see what we get.
Oh, he got that guy.
Oh, he got that guy.
Welcome to Magical Christmas Land,
Magical
Corey.
Christmas Land has happened.
We have achieved it.
I mean, talk about getting more than you wanted when what you wanted doesn't pan out.
Yep. So we've committed to Hutchuk's ambush right now. And Anastasia's going on the other side. Aaron helping out with an Anastasia ambush over there.
Mm-hmm.
What a sportsman.
Coming up in no man's land over there. There's a Diet Coke bottle.
See, I feel like a play like this is kind of strange. And Corey is an incredible Magnus player. Like, he has so much practice with this caster. And I think what he might be doing is going in something. So let's see what he does, right? So if he picks those two board edges, and then this Anastasia runs to here, this Slayer can't move. Right? Like, is he going to box him in with Anastasia? Because she's speed 7. She goes pretty far. That might be a bit more than 14. I don't know. But it could also be like a run to here. It could be like a run into the back arc of these guys. It could be a walk and throw. So, like, I think there's a lot of options here for Anastasia. And I think starting to take out these little lights, maybe the Vociferon, anything like that, is really what Anastasia is trying to do here. And to force something to turn around, right? Because anything that turns around and tries to deal with Anastasia is one less thing that Corey has to clear out of his zone to score points. And I think Corey is 1,000% in for score. Like,
I mean,
he's going all in on the scenario play here. He's measuring his 3-inch AoE here. So the goal here is he's trying to place a proxy base for where a steelhead man can run, and then hit him with a Hutchuk bomb and affect both Slayers, while also not being in melee. So this will put him in melee, though. So Magnus is defeated. Looks like he's going to charge in there. Oh, don't put that there.
Oh, don't let that fall on your model's head. This
is a game state disaster. All right.
In he goes.
Great clean game. Playing within our 2 proxy base limit here is fantastic.
So boosting his attack roll. Is he swinging with the fist first is the question. Not swinging with the fist. Interesting. The only reason I say the fist is because it knocks down.
The fist.
So armor piercing. It's going to be a good hit.
Yep. So it's
plus
armor
4
9
on the dice roll. Can you just one-shot him? No.
He'll do 11.
All right. So it still has movement and arc node.
Yep.
Now punch him.
Ah, okay.
Interesting.
So we picked up this side and this side for the table feet. Do you think that is question? Is this guy in the zone? That's an important question. So he cannot. So this might be a slam. That's so weird. My whole world is shattered.
I know your predictions were so on target until just now. I'm curious as to why. Because it was a special attack. Because the armor pierced got it.
Yes.
So
We've missed our first attack here. What is that? Is that a Vanguard?
yeah,
is it?
that's a Vanguard.
He has a Vanguard?
He has a Vanguard. He
has
does have a Vanguard.
There you go. He's got his shield guard ready. His Vanguard's tucked away.
So clearing out a path with the red steelheads. They're just running out of the way.
Lexi is taking a wander here with these Risen. She's hanging out in the forest here. Looks like we're going to get a Thrall Warrior here. It's going to be our proxy-based run. Beautiful. Yeah, that is a Vanguard. That is a corroded Vanguard. Look at that guy.
Look at him.
He's seen better days.
He's so old. His tiny, tiny halberd thing. His guisarme.
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 It's not as good as Poissons. But it's pretty good.
Best rule ever.
It's a solid rule. All right, our Thrall Warrior is there. And then the
Thrall Warrior being the hero. Such a hero.
All right.
All right, so here comes the rust.
Yep. Oh, hold on. Does Quake not require a friendly model? That is what I am. That's what I'm
I
hearing.
think Quake is just directly hit.
Directly hit?
I think so. Let me confirm. To War Room on a direct hit against an enemy model.
Okay. We will go and get that corrected up right quick. All right, we've got this corrected up here. Oh, Billy. Corey could be in a heap of pain now.
Well, he just rusts instead.
Infernal will let him do it. So there's one dead Thrall Warrior. We are not going to rewind to a different bomb call.
Mm-hmm.
Shame on Corey for not knowing his rules.
Are we keeping count of just how many Risen are made during the game or how many Risen exist?
Exist total. No, are made during the game.
Made during the game. So don't lower the
here.
count. So for the Twitch chats that's asking, we're not looking for how many exist at the time. We're just looking for how many are created over the course of the game.
Yep.
So the count won't go down as Risen get killed, just as Risen get added.
All right.
Nomad gets in there.
Nomad's walking up. He's got some focus on him. He's boosting to hit here.
So total hit. Data thrust. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy.
What's up?
He's asking for why not both on the thralls. I'm saying don't get greedy. Don't get greedy.
He hits the 8 to hit the arc node there. Ooh, that's a pretty good roll. That'll take him
he
out.
Destroyed the Bone Jack.
So this goes back to our dev chat that we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
We actually just talked about not boosting 7s to hit because it's significantly better statistically to try and make 2 attacks and hit both of them.
Right.
Which is about a 33% chance to happen, a 30% chance to happen, if I remember my math from a couple weeks ago. So Corey could have maximized his damage a little bit better if he had bought an attack there instead of boosting. So it's only like a 5% difference in chance of your hit for hitting at least one in your favor of in the favor of boosting, but you also get the chance of hitting twice. And if you hit twice, man, it's
Well, yeah,
great. It's
then
amazing.
then it completely spikes, right?
Amazing. So I don't actually agree with Corey's option there to
boost on the 7.
to boost on the 7 there. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could go make him roll the second attack and see what would have happened.
I mean, we could just roll it right now.
If he
Tony,
just
you got
flat
any dice?
missed.
We could roll it right now. We could replay the whole game. We're not
The
gonna,
whole
we're,
game?
We're not going to
This
do
sounds
it.
madness.
We're not going to do it.
All right, so the Nomad is going to get clipped, is going to be in threat by one of the Slayers.
Yes.
Because one of those Slayers can shift down towards the bottom table edge. We have Iris advancing into the flag.
Yep. So
And
Iris is going to be very safe here.
She's going to take a Disruptor Bolt shot, it looks like,
Yep.
at one of the Slayers who was out.
Yes. So yeah, this is the Slayer that was out. So the idea here, I think, is all the other Slayers aren't going to be able to get in. Let's give this guy a hard time with the disruption here, and that's going to really let Corey sort of run this side of the table now. So I was apparently completely wrong. I thought that Corey was going to go for this bottom zone here, but it's really looking like he's going to be going for that top zone. I do really want to know if that kind of rusty Slayer hanging on that cloud effect is in the zone or not.
In the fog?
Yes.
When they measured it, it was.
We're getting a check to see if that guy is in the zone or not. Because if he is not in the zone, Corey should score some points this turn. Assuming that Nomad can kill that Slayer up there, which is not true. Okay, so that guy is in the zone, so there will be no points scored this turn. Corey's asking about different AoE templates.
Mm-hmm. So the Halberdier's just kind of flooding the zone here.
Yep. Doesn't want to get clipped by too many templates here. Kind of going back to what I was talking about in the Constance Blaze game from last round, the positioning here is very important. And you want to stay spread out for the templates, but you want to make sure that you're close enough together so that you're hard to trample, so there's not
Right.
a lot of good landing zones.
Well,
So
thankfully,
it's-
to Magnus's feet doesn't work with the trample this time.
correct,
But
yes.
obviously, in the future,
Yes.
there's that fine, perfect balance of how close is too close.
All right, so the Steelheads are moving in. These guys run. They just gum up that Slayer a little bit. That one up top can really do whatever it wants. It's disrupted, so there will also be no trampling from him. But he will be able to punch a couple guys. We talked a little bit at the beginning of this about how the positioning was super duper important for Corey here. So the positioning here is great because we have one Slayer here that cannot go this direction or this direction. So all of these guys are safe from there. This Slayer right here, he can do whatever he wants. He's disrupted. So what's he going to do? He's probably going to punch this guy. Maybe he can walk to here and hit this guy and this guy, which I think would be a little bit of a mistake on Corey's part. I would want this guy a little bit farther to make sure, which might not even be true. This has to be about 4 inches is the distance there. So we want to make sure that happens there. So this guy, he's probably just going to kill like 2 guys. So
Really trying here to murder this contesting Slayer.
yeah. So the green unit here is all trying to stay 1 inch away from this Slayer. Behind this thing right here is a Slayer, which is perfectly hidden at the moment.
Just imagine that the objective is a Slayer.
Yes. So it looks like they're removing a guy right there.
So
So it looks like-
two-man CMAs.
So 4 guys got in. The 5th guy was out. Two-man CMAs. We talked about the Mat 9. Great. Would have missed it if it was individual. POW 13 can actually really get some damage done here. It's not a lot of damage, but it is something.
Okay, looking for a big roll here.
Yep. Hey, that's pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
2 Steelheads doing 5 damage to a heavy. I'm in.
Solid, especially when there's so many more steelheads to go.
Yes. These yellow
Fortunately,
steelheads.
he didn't manage to destroy the jack, so it will continue to contest.
Yes, that would have been very, very good for him if he was able to do that.
Yeah.
But it is not the case at this point.
You know, as it is, that Slayer is. I don't know if any of the systems on that Slayer got taken out. It looks like maybe it lost an arm.
Maybe an arm.
Arm.
It doesn't look like a movement went out.
So for Snarky TBB, we have streamed. This is our third round of Iron Gauntlet that's been streamed. So we are in the quarterfinals. We streamed the prelims for round 1 and round 2.
And the Masters up top, right?
And then the Masters before that, but the question was specifically IG games. But yes, we did the semifinals and the finals of Masters earlier this morning. And we'll be completing Iron Gauntlet tomorrow, starting at 10:30 Pacific.
I believe the first game will be Mr. Will Hungerford and myself, and the second game will be me and you, which will be the finals game.
I think it's actually, I don't know. It'll be a Will and a Will.
Yes, there will be a lot of wills going on. A lot of wills. All right, so Aaron's trying to figure out what exactly he can do here. I've talked about how Corey has a lot of experience with this list, right? So here and here, this Slayer cannot punch anybody. Here and here, this Slayer can only get to this Nomad. Magnus is hanging out about right here. He's totally safe. Nobody can get to him. This Slayer cannot walk this direction, cannot get to a Nomad. This Slayer cannot walk this direction, cannot get to anything. So, Aaron's plan, he gets one Slayer on this Nomad, probably not enough to kill it. He gets no Slayers on this Nomad, obviously not enough. So all of this is going to live. I'm going to guess like this Steelhead, maybe these 2 Steelheads will die. Anastasia's kind of in the danger zone. I'm not really sure why she ran here. All of this can go this way.
Woo!
So
go
like,
backwards, boys.
So like, which is kind of fine, and this might just be bait, right? Like we talked about how every model that moves this direction is one less model that can get down into this zone or can get into this zone. So that's great. So I want to see how much damage this Slayer does. I think will be really important here. And then can this many Steelheads, which is a lot of Steelheads, kill this? And my answer is maybe. We'll see. I doubt this Nomad's going to die, as I said. So it's really, I think, what all happens to this guy right now is to me the big question of this game. In terms of who's winning at the moment, I think Corey is kind of getting what he wants from his feet. I think he's gonna get this Alpha Strike where he's gonna get the charge with like 40 Steelheads. Corey's already at 31 minutes though. Like he's already used almost half of his clock.
A lot of his clock.
So 40 Steelheads charging takes a lot of time.
A little
right?
bit, yeah.
It takes a lot of time.
It's not quite 7 blasters spraying 4 or 5 models each with boosted attack rolls.
True.
But it is definitely going to eat away the clock.
Yes.
All right, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
So some of these lights can get in there.
Yep.
We'll see how much work they do. They are unaffected by the feet. So I didn't really take that into my calculations I just talked about. So I think they might pick up a couple of more of the steerheads. I'll stick with it.
The steerheads?
The steerheads, yes. They
I
got
like
big antlers.
Yep.
It's beautiful. It's the Texas coming out.
Steerheads. To the death.
So they might pick up a few more of those blue steelheads. Maybe a couple of these green ones down here that are kind of clumped up. We'll really see how that goes. But yeah, I'm intrigued.
Corey trying to convince Hungerford that Magnus needs Tactician Battle Group.
I mean, Corey is a smooth talker, so.
So Slayer that got disrupted by Iris is just going to attack the single Steelhead in there.
Boop. Goodbye, Steelhead. Poor little guy.
That Slayer is done with life.
All right. Based on that measurement, I think one of our Night Wretches is going over there.
Yep, sure looks like it.
But if he doesn't get in that zone, man, like this is getting real conservative here from Aaron. I think he should be trying to move up there and get in there.
So just walking within 6 to take a shot.
Yeah. He's going to boost a hit. He'll hit it. Oh, no, he missed it. Looks like we got one steelhead there in the blast. Maybe two. Nope. Just the one blue guy. No corpses gained. No risen counter increase.
No, that risen counter was designed for a purpose. It needs to go up.
It will be used. Maybe. Not right now.
I mean, let's hope so.
Yeah.
It'd be great if he just suddenly killed Alexia this turn, and it was just like, well, thanks, Tony, for nothing.
I appreciate you, Tony.
He did all that work, and it was completely pointless. Nope. So we're going to take a shot at Anastasia with another Night Witch,
Yep.
looks like.
We got within 4 inches, so even if you miss, the blast damage cannot deviate enough to clip her.
So Anastasia is pasted,
Goodbye, Anastasia.
but it did pull an entire arc node out of the way.
It did. It did. I'm not sure if that's worth it.
I don't know
Like,
either.
I don't know if we necessarily had to commit her this turn, right? Like, she could have been hanging out in this forest up here. Like, she could have just run into this forest. And I don't know if that changes anything.
I don't
but
know.
you still have your Anastasia. Like,
You do.
So I don't know. And I think Anastasia can really threaten those little Death Rippers or Night Wretches, I guess. Because they're only armor 13, right? And she's got backstab.
Yeah, she's got backstab. Yep.
So,
Her little Tigers can do some damage. And you do always have that threat of, if I move Asphyxious in the wrong spot, she's going to be able to pull off an intelligence. That could be huge.
yeah, that's always crazy when that happens. So,
Sometimes it's just the pure, like, threat of something could happen is just as good as something happening itself.
all right. So it looks like Asphyxious might be walking up and attempting to Hellfire Magnus or something. So the Slayer is indeed moving into this Nomad.
Uh-huh.
And he's going to combo strike.
So arm 21 right now.
Yep. So it's power 22 for the combo strike. He'll boost it on up. Whew. So it looks like
Ooh, that's not what
16
you want to
4.
see if you're a Nomad.
no. Yep. Yeah, so I talked about this Nomad not dying. Well, he just lost Cortex and right arm.
It's basically dead.
So it's basically dead.
It's basically dead.
I guess it's actually got its open fist, so it's probably going to throw a Slayer, would be my
It
guess.
doesn't have a Cortex.
That's an excellent point, Chick. That's an excellent point.
Touche.
I guess it's not going to throw a Slayer.
I mean, it would probably love to throw a Slayer, but it cannot.
Yep. So that is not what Corey wanted to see here. That's quite a damage spike there from Aaron.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there are no steelhead mechanics, so
Nope.
nothing's
Yeah.
getting put back on that guy because
Yep.
Magnus 2 does not have the repair ability like his one ability.
Or does he?
I don't think he does. I think he loses it. Yeah, no, he has Field Marshal and Yielding rather than Repair.
Asphyxious is now feeding. He does not have a repair. So we missed a Hellfire here. He's camming 2, and he's got his feet up.
All right. And Asphyxious' feat is every time a focus point is spent, he gains a soul token.
And he also heals.
And he heals. Of course, he has nothing to heal right now, so, you know.
Correct, but it does make him usually pretty difficult to kill. So, man, losing that Nomad there, like losing the combat effectiveness of that Nomad is pretty rough.
So Aaron just kind of trying to figure out what's left to activate and what he can do here.
So really, do you think? So I was wrong. I don't think Corey's actually going for this southern zone. I think he's going for that northern zone, and I think Aaron's kind of taking the bait, right? Like
It certainly seems like, well, I mean, you see all those guys down there. You see where the feed is going.
you see where Magnus is, right?
really the kill box direction would have been your biggest indicator that he doesn't want you to go north.
Yeah, so I think he's swung a lot of his Slayers down here, right? So like let's talk about it. We got one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left, right? This is a lot of steelheads. And I'm guessing that probably about that many of them can get to this jack, right? Like all of this. And probably some of these guys too. So this guy probably gets killed by this guy.
So it looks like Aaron scored one.
It does look like Aaron scored one on the flag right here.
Controlling his flag, so he actually has gotten a benefit here of going up first.
Which is almost certainly not where. Oh, we're checking actual. Oh, hold on. Should we check actual kill box for the back edge? It's probably far enough forward. So I think the steelheads can probably take out this Slayer. Whoa, we're going this Slayer. Oh, it's kind of like a heart. I was like, can take out this Slayer.
There you go. They're gonna love that Slayer to death.
Yes, they're gonna take him
hugs
right in there and just love him.
Oh, all the way in.
These 3 steelheads, this nomad, maybe this steelhead, maybe that can take out this Slayer. You can get a couple more steelheads. This is an Iris, I think. You can get a couple more steelheads to right here to kill that Slayer. Like, so if Corey, which this is probably a pretty big if, can clear these 3 Slayers, I think this zone is just his, absolutely his.
Is that Slayer in the Slayer in the cloud in the fog bank is on the zone, right?
Yes. So this guy is in the zone. We got this one, and those are the only 2 models in the zone.
I mean, you need to kill the other one that's contesting your flag. You want to get rid of him.
You need to kill this guy so
he's
Iris
also
can get the flag.
Fairly wounded, so you know.
Yeah, he took probably about 10 damage from this, and I don't actually remember how much the Nomad did. I think this is him right here on this sheet, so he's more than half dead.
Yep.
And then this one is this guy right here. So, yes, we do have confirmation from the table. There's no Cortex or right arm on the purple Nomad, so no focus allocation will be going down there. So I'm pretty excited to see where Corey goes with this because he's already gone a different way from what I thought he was going to do. So
he did seem to choose the north.
He did.
A very strong feint to the south, though.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said at the beginning of this, right, Corey has played a ton of Magnus games, so he really knows how to use this feat, how to bait people, and it's a huge, I think, mental game goes on with Magnus here, where it's about doing all this kind of stuff. All right, so we're putting 3 on the Vanguard.
Vanguard's going to get some work done, apparently.
At least 1 on Magnus.
Did the upper Nomad get anything?
So
he upkept
he's got
Escort.
6. He upkept Escort.
Yeah.
He's got 1 on him, so that leaves 4 missing. I'm guessing it's 2 on the Vanguard, 2 on the green.
You would
Nomad.
think so, right? Like,
Yeah.
That just makes sense.
I'm not really sure where else it could go. So.
So it looks like we're going to throw a rust bomb on top of our poor Nomad
Yep.
because the Nomad's movement has been broke, so he's easy to hit.
Sure. So, I mean, with the rust on all 3 of these Slayers, like these steelheads could do a lot of work.
They can get some stuff done.
I'm excited about it. I think some 2-mans coming in. You got some PAL 15 stuff. We got a Risen counter going with the Alexia after all of this.
I mean, we better see more Risen, or I'm going to go table flip.
I know.
Because we made a counter.
We did. We fabricated an entire counter.
Expectations have been set.
Corey's talking about his math here. He needs a 7 to hit this Nomad in the back while it's engaged. If he hits, he'll rust all 3 Slayers. I think this is a great risk. Right? Because what else? What else is Hutchuk going to do this turn, right? Like, what are your other options? It could have been throw directly at the Slayer.
Yeah.
So he's a 13. I think Hutchuk's a 6.
Well, and especially if you're going to do that, you want to do it before you engage with your Nomad. So at this point, you're kind of committed.
Oh, certainly. I think the hope is to get all 3, whereas the Slayers were not in a position where he could do that. So he did hit the rust there. He is going to rust all 3 of those Slayers, and I think that's going to be a huge, huge boon for him. And he is now checking that rust is just all models in the AoE, which is correct. It is not like Quake.
Quake is actually the only one
Yes.
on Hutchuk that requires an enemy model to be its target.
So blue steelheads are going first. It might be Magical Christmas Land now,
It
Shik.
might be.
You might get
I
all 10
hope
of
so.
them.
I think that you were a little harsh when you told me that getting 10 steelheads on a Slayer was Magical Christmas Land worthy.
Sure. And-
so I would like to see you proven wrong again.
Sure. It's certainly possible. I also want to talk a little bit about the math on this, right?
Yeah,
Like,
let's hear the math. You're all about the math these days.
I mean, I mean, War Machine is a very mathematical game.
It is.
And I think I talked a lot last game about using your models efficiently and allocating your resources and stuff appropriately, right? So, like a lot of the stuff that happened last game that kind of let Brandon fall behind in the attrition fight was because he misallocated his troops. And I think Corey might kind of run into a same situation here where like he boosted a 7 instead of buying a 7 earlier. And I want to talk about a little bit of the math for these steelheads, right? So they have powerful charge. They're going to go up to math 7. They need 6s to hit. Because we're at a rust situation here.
They drop back to a 17.
They drop down to a 17 armor. You're going to be POW 11, so it's dice off 6. If you 2-man, you need it's dice off 5 instead of a dice off 6, right? You go down to 4s to hit. There's definitely a math thing that will tell you which one of these is better. I'm not smart enough to do the math right now because I'm going to be talking to you guys about the game. But I think this decision is very important. Where and how he combines here, I think can maximize damage in very different ways.
We'll
right?
do it really quick. So it's mat 7 on the charge if you're doing it by yourself.
Sure.
You need 6s to hit.
So 6 out of 10 hit.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, no. So 6s to hit is I think
6s to hit.
75% ish.
Yep.
70%.
So you're looking at 7
Sure.
out of 10.
So you hit 7 of your attacks, and then your dice off 6.
Your dice off 6 for your roll. You're looking at an average of just say 10. Simple average is 10.
Sure.
Somewhere
Sure.
between 9 and 11 on 3 dice.
So like 4 damage a guy.
4 damage a guy.
You're gonna hit 6 of your attacks. You're gonna do 4 damage
Yep.
each. That's 24. If you do 2-mans,
Otherwise, you cut it in half, but you bump it up by 2 for the most part.
oh, we have an issue in the game. Corey is stepping away. It appears that he forgot to move the rest of the unit, which includes his unit leader. So the entire front line is out of formation, and it appears that he is quite upset about it. So he has chosen to step away from the table for just a moment. This is one of these situations where the pressure of the game can really get to you.
I missed what happened here.
So Corey forgot to move the rest of the unit. So these 3 steelheads back here in the back did not move. These are part of the blue unit. This one right here is the unit leader.
Oh, no.
Which puts all of these steelheads out of formation.
formation.
And that's going to make this pretty tough on Corey.
Eef.
So this is quite a play mistake right here. Which is truly unfortunate, because I do think Corey had a great shot here at killing at least one of these Slayers with this blue charge, and you could probably put in some more of the purple guys there
Yep.
to really, really get it done, and maybe kill 2 with the Steelheads. And if you kill 2 with the Steelheads, you can really mess up another one with this Vanguard.
Right.
That puts Corey in a pretty great spot down here at the bottom, especially if he can get two dead up there at the thing.
So ghost shot shooting.
Ghost shot shooting a Soul Trapper. He's hit. It's POW 10. Soul
He
Trapper's
dies.
gone.
His brain explodes. So we're going to see a slam from the Nomad up top.
Yep. Looks like he is going for the scenario play up top. All right, look at that teamwork between the players.
All the
Corey
way in
marks
there,
the
yep.
line. Aaron moves the model. All right,
So
Asphyxius is up to
souls getting
3 souls.
Generated up.
Ooh, that's a good slam.
It is all the way. So POW 11 damage roll.
So no damage to the Slayer.
This takes 3 to the 4.
So -5 is incorrect because that is collateral damage. It is not a melee attack. You should not have unyielding anyway. Hold on.
So 2 more.
Yes. Okay, they just caught it. There we go. Okay. Whew. Good guy. Good guy, Hunger for Judge. Hunger Judge? Hunger Judge.
Hunger Judge.
Yep.
All right, so we see charge on the knockdown. Bone Jack.
Yep. So it's a total of 11-inch threat range. A 9-inch move there. He's wants to make sure that he's going to be in melee.
So we see
All
charge
right.
in.
So we got 2 charges there. He's going to remember to move his leader. He proclaims, which was just
You
that
only
model
kind
right
of do
there.
that once, and
Yeah, that is
that was rough.
that is a truly unfortunate
It is.
mistake there.
It really is. These guys have been playing all day long. It's been a heck of a trial to get to this point.
And Corey's got to be very careful with these steelheads, right?
Yep.
He doesn't want to commit too many of them here. He doesn't want to make sure that any of the units get massacred or anything. He's trying to move here. Declares another run. Aaron asks if he wants to attack first.
I mean, he's required to attack at this
Correct.
point. So. So dice off 5 here.
Not a
Takes
great
3.
roll. Takes 3.
So 5 more.
We got a big combine up to POW 14 here.
6 of the 2 is not bad.
Yeah. It's a start. It's a start. And I think Corey's really going for the long game here. Unfortunately, he's got 18 minutes left.
That's true.
So
There's not a lot of long game left.
He has taken a lot of time here.
So Vanguard's going to start attacking. Needs 7 to hit.
Yep. He's not boosting the 7s, which I like here. So he's boosting damage here, and I think this is another one of those mistakes.
Not when you roll like that.
I mean, sure.
If you're going to spike it, then it's not a mistake. But yes, otherwise, I think I agree with you. Overall, your better bet is to continue to buy attacks with the rust in effect. I think if the rust wasn't in effect, then boosting is the right choice there.
I agree. There also is, I guess, a situation where boosting was the right call because he did spike and kill him in one hit, so Asphyxia's only gained 1 soul.
True.
So that might be something that's skewing the math a little bit here, and it's one of those extraneous situations that is abnormal.
Now, unfortunately, you wind up with, 2 additional focus on that Vanguard that aren't going to go to use?
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a problem because I don't think Magnus had anything to do with him.
No.
Otherwise,
It'll only
so-
matter if Magnus needs them next turn to avoid taking damage.
Yes, yeah. So like if Magnus gets Hellfire to death next turn,
We'll be like, oh,
that
wouldn't
would
it
be
be
an
nice
issue.
to have 2?
Wouldn't it be nice? Yep, steelheads are charging. It is this Slayer that has been very craftily placed directly behind this obstruction from our camera here.
You can kind of see the back end of its base.
Yep. So we've got 3 steelheads, 4. So it looks like we're fully committing to this Slayer.
Oh,
here.
we got this Slayer like all the way. We're living the dream, boys.
Yep. Corey makes a comment about the trample, and this is kind of what I talked about at the beginning of this about trampling, is presumably this guy's going to die. I don't know if that's actually true.
I mean,
but if this Slayer
he's half
tramples,
dead. I
right?
hope he dies.
That's true. The Nomad did beat him up. But when this guy goes, he can trample
Everyone?
3, maybe 6 of these guys, right? But he'll take 1, 2, 3 free strikes when he does it. And like, I guess you could Carapace against free strikes. That's probably not very good. Probably not very relevant, right? You could Carapace and unyielding. So yeah, this guy doesn't care. Never mind. I'm out. I'm out. So Corey missed a 4 there. That's unfortunate. Ooh, takes 8. The Slayer has all of its systems left. We got a single charge here. It's Mat 5. It'll miss.
7 if it's a charge.
Fair. Fair.
So that Slayer is still standing with nothing out. Ugh.
Yes, surprisingly. I think Alexia is going to Hellfire it.
With its movement still active, though, that's going to be a tough shot.
It's a 17. I think she's a 7 up to a 10 or so. Boosted 10.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, you better get your Risen counter ready because it's coming. Next turn's going to be the Risen turn.
Assuming Alexia doesn't die.
Ooh. There's a lot of guys in the way.
So, yeah, the only boxes left on that Slayer that's contesting the flag are systems.
We're not going for the Hellfire. We're going for the Craft Roll.
Can he get to the Slayer?
He's just running. Looks like he's setting up for future turns.
All right, and then the rest of the Halberdiers are running. 14 minutes left. Oof. I mean, there's a lot of game left to play. There's not a lot of time to play that game.
That is true. So I think one of the benefits of these steelheads is they can take a lot of time to chew through. One of the drawbacks of these steelheads is they can take a lot of time to move around.
Yes.
And especially if you're getting frustrated because you are forgetting to move unit leaders and things like that, that can really take a toll on your time.
Mm-hmm. Corey very disappointed in that turn, and understandably so. All right, so only 4 extra focus from the feet, which is not the best Asphyxious feet turn ever.
It's certainly not amazing.
But by the same token, Aaron really didn't suffer very much under that last turn from Corey either. So
no, messing up that blue halberd charge down there at the bottom was a very substantial deal, and I think it probably loses Corey the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wasn't already running out of clock, I think it would certainly seed the entire bottom zone here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure he's really gonna be able to get into the get enough like pressure going on this north zone. So Aaron's talking about his options here. If I was Aaron right now, I would just make sure to think out every play super duper hard. Mm-hmm. You're up half an hour on clock almost.
Right.
Like you can do whatever you want this.
You've got all the time you got all the time you want to play with for sure.
Yep.
And you're up on control points by 1. So I mean, you've got a slight advantage there. Yeah. The game is Aaron's to lose at this point.
I agree completely. So there's a confusion as to which Night Wretch is which. One of them that's already dead is now been marked off.
Look at that fatty stack of focus just getting handed out there.
This right here is where it's at. We saw Keith do a lot of really great focus allocation to his Night Wretches and stuff. Once the infantry kind of clumped up around the Slayers, he was able to shoot his own models in the back, boost all the blast damage and stuff like that. We can see if Aaron does something similar like that. Yep. Particularly in that southern zone, there's a lot of clumped up steelheads. Just above that center obstruction, there's a lot of clumped up steelheads. So I think Corey specifically focusing down one of those 3 Night Wretches is a great call.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll.
Plus, the more steelheads that die, the faster that Risen counter can start to rise.
It's true. The Risen
and
counter.
That's what we want.
Yes. I wanted to get to 40.
Asphyxious gained 4, so he's on 11 currently.
Yep.
For those asking in the Twitch chat.
We've got an awful lot of allocation happening here. Unfortunately, Aaron's tokens are very small and are stacked against each other here. The wonderful Privateer Press tokens, which I love that they click together, but it does make it a little hard to count on the stream.
You can't just eyeball a stack?
Not when it's a little fuzzy like this. But yeah, I actually, I have all sorts of crazy secondary market products and stuff when I play the game, like Broken Egg tokens and all that kind of stuff, but I always use the privateer focus because I just love it. I love that it clicks together and that you can like, it's so tactile. I love it.
All right, so Aaron taking time to just think out this turn.
As we said, he's got plenty of time.
Any major mistakes here, and yeah, he has lots of. So, got a couple of jacks that are going to need to shake.
So one of the things that I think Aaron may be forgetting here is that those 2 jacks are knocked down. So that could be a situation where he would want to shake, but he may forget here because there's a lot going on. And as we said, the pressure really gets to the players, especially after
3 rounds.
3 rounds of Iron Gauntlet. And some of these guys might have been in Masters and played 2 rounds this morning. Right? Like, I don't know if these guys were in there or not, but this could be their 5th round of War Machine in the day. And it's approaching 10 p.m. right now here in Seattle. So
we started at 9, so I mean we're looking at almost 12 hours at this point if you've been playing since the start of the day.
We started at 9. We're at 13.
That's true.
Woo. And these guys probably got at least another half hour in this game.
Well, I guess game time started at 10, but they were here in the hall at 9.
Sure. Yeah. And they had woken up before that and eaten breakfast. So.
And probably stayed out quite late
last
night playing games.
Probably.
You know all about that professional War Machine player life.
I do. It usually involves going to sleep at about 3 in the morning and then waking up at 7. So it's a glamorous lifestyle.
Clearly. It's a rock star life right there.
I do really like that Aaron is really taking his time here. Like I mentioned this a couple times already, but I do think when you're up by 25 minutes on a turn and you're not feeling the pressure of losing the game right now, you just make sure you give your opponent absolutely nothing. Right? Like do not make a mistake. Take the time to make sure that everything is good to go.
Well, it's one of the really nice things about the death clock, for those who've played the game for a long time. We used to not have clocks at all. There was no time turns. That was kind of miserable, I'll be honest. Drove me away from doing tournaments for a while because I was tired of playing 20 minutes out of a 2-hour event.
Yep.
And then having it end in a draw. And then we went to time turns. That was pretty great. But the problem was during turns like this where you might really need to plan, you didn't have that time, The flexibility of the death clock to me, it's really hits
fantastic.
that. Everybody gets the same amount of time. You've got to play. You've got to commit. But at the same time, when you need the time, it's right there for you.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm a firm believer in death clock, and I will always sing its praises.
And I think even for people who don't play in tournaments and want to just enjoy games, at home or at the game store, or even league style. If you play Death Clock, just add 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It still enhances the experience, in my opinion, because you have a set end time. You don't have to worry about the game dragging on forever, somebody playing super slow. You have that. This is what we're going to do. This is our time limit. At that point, there's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser, and we can move on.
I do certainly prefer it. And I do know we have some players that are not a big fan of the stress that comes with playing on a clock. So don't ever feel like you have to, though, right? Like, you play at your own pace, I guess is what I'm saying. Well, but I do agree that when you're like at a game night and stuff and you've got to get home to the wife and the kids or whatever, don't feel bad about putting like a 2-hour per player death clock on or something, right? Because sometimes games do take a long time, and that's fine, but we also got to get home at some point. So. And also, there's something that can really be understated about playing on a clock in terms of like honing skills or making you a faster or better player. And even if you do take a death clock and you really jack up the time on it so that you're way past the normal steamroller stuff, just simply playing on that clock is going to make you aware that it exists, and it can kind of start getting you comfortable with it if you're a newer player looking into tournament play. So definitely don't feel shy about that either. We got some Ironmongers wandering about right now.
They're just looking for something to curse.
So we got a curse down on the green unit. Looks like we're going to get a little bit of repair action going on here too.
So just doing some repairs here.
Yep. Fully repaired number 2 there.
So curse has been cast on the green steelhead unit, which says that we're going to see a
here goes
trample.
the Slayer.
He's going to start going ham.
Hiya! He does go to mat 9 because of the curse.
All right, so we got a corpse token. Number 1.
Tony, you get that Risen Finger ready.
Get ready, Tony.
Into the turn.
All she has to do is survive, and there's going to be so many skeletons.
I don't think there's, like, really any chance that she dies here. Like, she's so far back, and she can't be targeted by spells and all this kind of stuff, right? So horns are coming in. I'm going to bet this Slayer kills 4 guys.
He's going to live the dream here? I mean, he has the potential to kill.
Yeah, I think
to
he's
kill
gonna
more than that.
I think he's going to kill 5
I
guys.
think he can get 5 at this point.
We talked about this. This
I
is
know.
Magical Christmas Slayer land.
This Slayer is living the dream right now.
These poor steelheads. Lexi is sitting on 4 corpses. We only got 4 guys. He probably didn't get any extra focus. So where do you think these Risen are going to end up here, Schick? Do you think this is kind of just regumming that northern zone?
I mean, if he sticks to the plan and the goal is to try to start scoring points in that zone, then it's the most logical place to put them. I mean, I think it kind of depends on how that center goes, where he's feeling the pressure, but I would expect, based on where the Risen are currently at, it's weird. He has them split, right? You've got 4 Risen, or 3 Risen and a Thrall currently towards the north. You have 3 more Risen towards the south. I feel like it's really going to depend on where Aaron ends this turn as to where those Risen might wind up going.
Sure.
You know? And maybe she just continues to split. Those zones are close enough. Her command range is high enough. She could decide to just stay centrally located.
Sure. I don't know which one of these is Alexia. It's either that one or this one.
It's that one.
This one right here is Alexia. This looks like a 6-inch walk to me.
Yep.
So I think we could see a bunch of Risen pop up in this area.
She just goes ham on that Slayer.
I would imagine there's going to be a Slayer around here or something, or like a Slayer around here. So Risen pop up here. They're all going to charge. Risen are certainly the most quality fighters in the game at, I believe, mat 4, POW 7, if I remember correctly. So they'll do like maybe 4 damage to anything that hangs out over there. But then Alexia can use them to kill this guy right here. If this Thrall Warrior that's hanging out right here lives, that guy can do a lot of work. I guess he's right here. So I think this could be a swing Alexia north. This right here looks like a giant gum up of steelheads. So I'm not really sure that she needs to get any farther down there. Or that Corey needs to get any more guys down there. Like I think we're good in the southern zone. And I think putting more bodies into this circle right here can help out there. So that to me is kind of the direction that I would go with all this, and we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty solid play as far as continuing to push that pressure towards the north zone. I guess the one concern I have is that Corey's starting to run out of steelheads up north.
Yeah.
And
well,
he has a load of steelheads down south, but he also has a lot of slayers.
Sure. Yeah. I think when those yellow steelheads committed to go around that forest that's up there is kind of why that side feels a little light. And I think Aaron is sort of giving him the denied flank right now, where those guys flanked and then the Slayers just walked away from them.
Right.
So it's just taking them too many turns to get into this game, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the forest being right there, blocking their line of sight, really hindering their movement. I don't know if going around was really the right play.
I do feel like piling in behind these blue steelheads over here is probably a stronger line here. So. So Aaron is asking about this purple nomad that perfectly lost his entire half.
So they're just confirming that the rust effect is a round effect, not a turn effect.
I'm actually, pretty sure it's turn.
It's only turn, so rust has expired.
Yes. That's because we've been working on Crucible Guard. I know that one.
It's a lot of rust.
A lot of rust going around. Which is one of the weird things about like the Vulcan is it has a round effect rust because its template applies rust to things. So if you're hanging out in there, you rusted.
Right.
Boom.
Boom. Don't hang out
Boom.
by the Vulcan. It's a plague factory of epic proportions.
Yep. But yeah, like I feel like these yellow steelheads up here are just a little too far out of this game, right? Like I feel like if this body of steelheads was like in this area of the board, it would be a lot better. And in general, I feel like a lot of the times whenever you pull one of these maneuvers where like something runs down the edge and then cuts in, it's just too slow. Like it's going to be turn 4 before these steelheads get into the game. And that's assuming these guys don't walk this way, and then there's just nothing for these guys to do.
Right.
Like maybe this guy hangs out here and then he gets charged by like a single steelhead, maybe 2. But like I don't see these steelheads doing anything this game pretty much at all. Whereas if they were in this general area, right, like they could come down here, they could go this way. Wow, that's a big arrow. Then they could go this way. So I don't think that flank really panned out for Corey here.
So we've got a dead Nomad finally.
So no corpse for Alexia, but yes soul for Asphyxius. And this is that Vociferon that we were talking about a lot in the last game, picking up enemy souls. There are a lot of souls in this army.
There are a lot of souls.
And Vociferon
And corpses.
is just kind of and Vociferon's just kind of feeding these souls back to Asphyxius here. So
what do you think? Is that Vanguard going to be the hero that Corey needs and just murder all 3 Slayers?
I mean, one of those Slayers is pretty messed up, if I remember correctly. So, maybe that one. I think Hutchuck is going to continue being an absolute champion.
Just throwing rust bombs like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Those blue steelheads have it coming. That's all I'm saying.
Those blue steelheads movement isn't out, though, so it's going to be a lot harder to hit them.
That is true.
In the back.
So, like, if Corey had got all these, so this Slayer died in the previous round, right? Like the Vanguard finished him. I think, did that one actually die? Maybe not. But when this Rust Bomb came down on these Slayers and these blue steelheads charged, it should have been 15 damage on this guy, 15 damage on this guy, 15 damage on this guy. Like, there should have just been a huge amount of damage on these Slayers right now. And the fact that they're all full health right now is going to be probably insurmountable to Corey. At least if any of his game plan involves doing anything down here in this zone. So I'm concerned for our Magnus player here.
You have some worries deep down.
I think that one
inside.
play mistake. I mean, it is a huge play mistake, but I think that one play mistake probably cost him the game.
Yeah.
And I say that Aaron should be really taking his time and really doing this stuff, right? But Aaron is not really winning the game actively right now either, right? Like he's got 1 point, which is fine. But like, what is Aaron's game plan, right? Like, how is he going to close out this game? He's certainly ahead on attrition, right? Like he's probably going to kill the second Nomad right here.
He likely will score another point on his flag.
He'll score a second point on his flag, but I mean he's now past the halfway point on his clock as well. And he's definitely not scoring either of these zones, right? So, like, it's got to be his flag, and he's got to score it 5 times to Corey's none. So there just needs to be a whole bunch of...
I mean, Corey, once again, will not score his flag because that Slayer
Yep, that Slayer's hanging out at,
to be
like,
a champion.
He's hanging out at, like, 3 or 4 hit points. So
The original prediction was maybe that was too aggressive a placement. That Slayer proved... He's got staying power.
It was not.
He's the Rocky Balboa of Slayers. He's just he's terrible at everything but taking punches.
Dodge, duck,
Like,
dip, and dive, and dodge.
I mean, all Rocky did was let himself get punched in the head until his opponent got really tired.
Sure.
That's what that Slayer's doing right now. He's just like, you know what? My hole's completely gone.
All right.
Slayer getting to work on the Nomad right now.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of work done here. So, as a return here, Corey's Nomad is also entirely functional, much like that Slayer that had 4 hit points.
Unfortunately,
So.
unlike that Slayer that was fully functional, Aaron's still got a lot of Warjacks that can follow up here.
That's true. That's true. I do think it's kind of starting to wonder how is he going to leave these yellow steelheads, right? Like, is he just going to run away from them? The apparent answer is no. He is not. That guy is going to get stabbed in the butt a lot by some halberds.
He's there to buffer the Slayer, okay? He is a butt shield for that Slayer. But at least you could have turned him around, I feel like. You didn't have to give him the back.
So we're at dice +3 right now. The Nomad will go down.
So 14
Nomad
is
goes down.
exactly what you need to destroy the Nomad. Eeh.
That northern zone is crumpling very quickly. So I feel like if Corey could have pulled out a point on the northern zone, a point on his flag throughout these 2 turns, and then had charged with those blue steelheads and could have scored a point on his next turn in the southern zone, it could have put and its flag again and be at 4 points right now. Aaron could be in trouble.
Yep.
But the fact that nothing's really gone Corey's way, and then of course he had a couple pretty severe misplays.
Pretty much literally nothing has gone his way, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah. I feel like he's had some 60-40s or some 50-50s, and he's missed all of his coin flips right now. So I think it's a little rough on Corey at the moment. There's no mobility going on right now. Yep. So it looks like a Slayer's walking through some stuff here. Moving through the Machine Wraith.
So the Machine Wraith and the Flag are both incorporeal, so the Slayer can just kind of walk right through them.
I'm not really sure what he's trying to accomplish here. He might just be trying to swing more of his stuff to the north side, which to me the north side seems pretty won at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot to be threatened up by the north.
I'm not sure I would really try and go that way at the moment, but
Well, I think he's trying to. I mean, he's got to clear that steelhead
away from the flag.
Clear up his flag for sure. So,
True.
And I don't know how many of those Slayers. I think both those Slayers up top that could get the steelhead at this point have already attacked the Nomad that just got destroyed.
Yeah, I think this is the northernmost Slayer's activation right now. So I think the 3 in the bottom have already gone. I think the ones up here. So I think this guy's gone. I think this guy's gone. I think this guy's gone. This guy's gone. This guy's gone. This guy's gone. I don't know what that is. I think that's an Ironmonger. We got the flag and the Machine Wraith.
Slayer's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, so this guy has not activated yet. I think he's really what's left here.
He just activated and did nothing.
Beautiful. I like it. This guy's going in there. This guy's going in there. This guy's going in there for sure. So no control points were scored at the end of this turn. I can already tell by Corey's voice he realizes he has 14 minutes left, and he is ready to go.
All right, so here come the Risen.
Here come the Risen.
Oh, so it looks like here we go.
Here we go. 1 Risen. 2 Risen. 3 Risen.
Up to 12.
Did you only get 3 corpses? I feel so depressed.
Apparently, I know. I thought
So depressed.
there were a couple more than that.
I know he had at least 4.
Corey now going into the tank. There's no time for this,
There's
Corey.
no time for the tank, Corey.
The
Unless you're killing Asphyxious this turn, which is
doesn't
dubious.
seem likely. Yeah. dubious. It's dubious at best. Say that in Orson Welles voice for me. Let's get a little Transformers 1985 action going on here. I find your bargaining position highly dubious.
3 more Risen. We're coming in. We're up to 15 Risen. Eris is hanging out the flag. We're activating in now. Looks like we had no allocation, or we
So-
forgot to allocate.
Disrupted one of the Slayers.
Yep. Gorman, which does not appear to be on the table. Chat is asking, sorry, which solo was the last one in his list. Yeah,
So
Corey's
it
supposed to
was
have a
Gorman, but I
which
agree. I don't
does not
know
appear
where
to be
he
on the
is.
table.
He doesn't
So-
seem to be placed.
Corey seems to be batting 1,000 right now.
Maybe. I mean, maybe we just don't see him.
It's possible. He is pretty sneaky.
He
He's
might
got
be.
stealth.
He might be somewhere. I mean, I definitely don't see him. Wait, is that Gorman?
Oh, it's Magnus.
Oh. Yeah, that's Magnus. I don't know.
All right. We're beating up some more on these Night Wretches here.
You're my favorite, Bloody Rackham. You're my favorite.
Gorman is indeed hiding down there behind that wall, so he is in play. Right down here.
Where? Oh, yeah, look at him. He's so sneaky.
He is. He's got stealth.
So sneaky.
Yeah. So Gorman is right there. Alrighty. We got some more blue steel heads moving in here.
Off 8.
Off 8 does 1 damage to the 3.
Hey. That's
Yeah, we can-
something?
We can hear the frantic motion in Corey's voice right now as he realizes he is running out of time
10
very
minutes
quickly.
left. Thrall Warrior for the win. Oh.
He misses.
Needs a 7 and misses. See if we can't finally kill
Yep.
this Rocky Balboa Slayer.
All right. Yeah, so this Slayer here in the middle, he's only getting charged by one guy. This guy did not make his 3 inches. And then we have 3 proper charges here. Or, sorry, here. And these 2 are not. Proper charge has hit.
Not bad.
4 more damage clocking in there. Right arm is now down on that Slayer
I mean,
in the middle.
That's just a sad amount of boxes that
Yeah, it's taken a lot of activations to get
it's
through that
just
Slayer.
crazy.
Because there's been some really unfortunate rolling.
So Lexi is getting in there. It's time.
You go get him, girl.
It's time to just do some stuff. Do it, boys.
3-man combined from these here Risen.
And
will
they
miss.
prove their worth as Skeleton Warriors by missing.
Lexi is going to boost it on up. Boost damage.
Fails to do any damage. Goodbye, Risen. Goodbye, Risen. There you
There you
go.
go. That'll clear it. And that's
Witchfire
gonna let-
finally finds its form.
Yes, yes. That beautiful Hungerford here.
You failed, leader. This is a rough life. So the red steelheads kill the blue leader so that he can get field promoted so that the rest of the blue unit can attack.
So he's moving the out of formation people.
All right, so here comes some charges from the blue. So we got two fake charges on a Slayer. Hits. So little time.
Yeah. So an Ashen Veil there prevents a thing here. Corey declares a wild shot of Rust onto the blue leader there. And says, I need a huge number, and then roll Snake Eyes.
I mean, that is kind of a huge number in reverse.
It is the opposite of a huge number. So the Rust deviates and still hits both those layers and is now charging in.
So Hutchuk using Hog Wild here.
Wild shot. Hog Wild's the order. Fight me.
Somebody's getting silly.
Oh, yeah, man. I always get silly when it gets down to 5 minutes on a clock. This is when you got to get Constance Blaze charging in there and trying to kill her and Asphyxious.
You were very excited about that.
I was, and it was so good odds, and it just didn't happen. Oh, man. That Vanguard is angry.
Vanguard in its Guisarm.
Guisarm.
So unfortunately, because the movement's still there, the last attack misses.
Yep. We got all these charges coming in. Oh, yes, Corey, don't forget to move your unit leader.
There you go.
There we go, buddy. He almost skipped it again.
Almost.
Okay. Our combined attack is hit.
One left.
One left on that Slayer.
Jeez Louise. This cannot catch a break here.
You just got to pick it up. You roll a 6 on 3 dice. You leave it at 1. Sad times. It's sub 5 minute times.
I mean, yeah, like. Ugh.
So I think Aaron's entire game plan now is just don't lose, right? like Corey will clock himself, no problem, before he wins this game. So.
So, yeah, well, like we talked about in the last turn, I mean, we saw this after Corey's kind of unfortunate turn before in round 3. It's Aaron's game to lose, still is. I mean, I don't see Aaron making that kind of mistake at this point.
I don't think so either. I think Asphyxious is going to get as far away from everything as possible in Camp 7, would be my guess, and just let Corey lose. Like,
turtle up and just let the clock do it.
Yeah. I know Corey right now is probably trying to kill that Machine Wraith so that Asphyxious has to come forward if Aaron wants to score his flag. Because he is going to score a flag now. So we've got no more escort. We've got bullet dodge running on Magnus now, which makes him real tough to kill. He picks up that dodge, and that makes any assassination attempt just terrifying. Terrifying. He's got 3.5 minutes. Corey will pick up 1 CP to tie it up 1-1. We have a question from the judge table about which round it is. I believe it is. It bottom of 4. Did Corey go first? Corey went first. Okay. Yes, bottom of 4. Checking some control range here. And we are indeed inside of our control range here.
I think the only winner in this fight is going to be Alexia.
Yeah. Yeah. She's going to end up with... We're 15 Risen, which honestly is way lower than I thought I was going to be.
I was really
thus far.
I was really banking on 20, 26,
Yeah.
maybe 30 if we were living the dream.
I mean, we still might get there.
Maybe.
Alexia is definitely in danger of dying this round, though. She just might eat a Slayer to the face. That
She's
looked
right
like the
there.
measurement right there. That was the Slayer punching her in the face.
Uh-huh.
So we're figuring it out. We got a lot of souls last round. Vociferon still is not dead. If you were watching our previous round, I talked a lot about how Brandon Andrews had a plan for killing Vociferon because he brought a lot of souls. And he also didn't want the souls to get picked off from his feet. So we had an entire game plan for how to kill Vociferon. I'm not entirely certain Corey had that game plan here. And I think he's paying for it pretty hard right now. So...
I mean, Asphyxious with all that focus is definitely devastating.
Yep. We're getting some allocation going on here. We got 3 on that top Slayer.
All right. So some quick measurements here as Aaron figures out his turn.
And once again, we're 15 minutes up still on Corey. We were almost 30 minutes up at the start of Aaron's last turn.
Right.
So he did spend a lot of time in his last turn making sure that he didn't mess anything up. But the pressure's kind of on now.
Yes.
Corey is very low on time. Aaron is not super low on time, but to me, anything sub 20 minutes is getting into that
it's
danger
ticking
zone.
down for sure. Like the point where you start fast rolling and talking pretty quick is, that 20-minute mark, it starts to feel real bad.
You start to feel that pressure.
Yes.
So I think Aaron needs to make decisions quickly now.
Yep.
He needs to execute his plan, and I think the entirety of his game plan needs to be don't let Asphyxious die. I'm not really sure how Asphyxious could die right now. Like, it would take a lot, right? It'll take an Eris shot. It'll take probably an Arcane Bolt or something from Magnus. Maybe a couple of those yellow steelheads will be the champions of their time.
Oh, yeah? They're going to be the heroes that songs will be sung about years from now?
Yeah, and I was all like, man, you run around that forest, you'll never get to the game in time.
Right,
and then like, we ran around the forest and killed Asphyxious.
Out of nowhere.
And I'll just be like, all right, cool. And I guess kind of looking back on it, right?
From the shadows.
Like I want to talk about this for a moment here. We had our yellow steelheads, right? And they deployed about right here, and then they ran to here, and they ran to here, and then they ran to here, and then they ran to here, and they charged a little bit of stuff, right? But these red guys, like, they just like would boop. And then they just kind of like hung out right here for 4 rounds.
They had to murder a terrible officer.
They did kill the blue officer.
They
that is
had
true.
to kill the blue officer because he failed miserably at his job.
But I guess my point is, right, like if you're going to have this and you're going to have your 2 ambush models, like we have this Hutchuck, we had the Anastasia that was back here, and you're going to do these kind of flanking maneuvers, and you have this unit just hanging out, like why wasn't this the game plan?
Sure.
Right? And then you could have a whole nother, like these guys aren't doing anything, right? They could be right here right now. And this applies a lot of pressure here. It can force Asphyxious forward. It can get you that assassination that gets you out of this 3-minute clock situation.
Well, and you can say the same thing about Gorman. Gorman's been hanging out behind that wall.
Yeah, like why isn't Gorman?
You've got blind potential. Like why didn't he get in there and throw
why
a
isn't
blind
Gorman
grenade?
here?
Yeah.
So I think Corey is not using, and I think he's flustered right now.
Sure,
honestly, is kind of what's going on. Like
I think after he missed that movement with his leader. And his turn got thrown completely in disarray. Like, you just know, right? He composed himself very well. He handled a very bad situation, I think, in an excellent way. But that kind of stuff as a player totally throws you off, right?
It really does. It really does. It's very hard to recover after something like that happens to you, just mentally, right? Like, it's not about, like, how do I win this game now? It's like, oh, my God, I can't believe I just did that. And it's a very difficult mental process to be able to go through and sort of recover from something like that. So I'm not necessarily blaming Corey for this, but I think we could be using our resources a little more efficiently here and playing this as a little more aggressively, I guess.
So far we have a very bold prediction from chat on how Corey wins this game.
Okay, how does Corey win this game?
From Downtown Calamity, a scattergun, and halberds.
Yeah, that's pretty aggressive. I'm going to guess it actually, if that is the plan, I'm going to guess it involves the gun shield on the Vanguard as well.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yeah. Because that Vanguard's hanging out there, and it's behind a whole mess of halberds. So it's not even engaged. It can just wander off and shoot its
gun.
I mean, it's got a hand cannon, right?
It
like
does.
that's a sweet
It
gun.
It's a good gun.
It's got a sweet gun.
Ironmonger's going. They're going to do some repair, I'm sure.
Yep.
Curse and Alexia.
Curse Alexia. And here we go. And I think there's a question here. Is Aaron going to spend the time repairing these war checks, right? Like we've talked a lot about how clock is important here. And now one of Corey's major win conditions is Aaron's clock. Is he going to spend the time to do this?
So here comes repair, checking command range. So 3 repair.
Yep. Put both that guy's arms back on. Yeah, man, if these blue steelheads had gotten that charge, I feel pretty confident this entire southern flank would have collapsed by now.
Yeah, it would have been much different game for sure.
Yes. Yes.
I think even if they hadn't done as much damage, Corey's rolls have kind of been all over the place, but they seem to skew a bit lower when he needs them to
Sure.
do the damage.
Sure.
I mean, even if he hadn't necessarily destroyed or done as much damage as he could have on average.
I mean, just like 10 damage to each of those, right?
I think the mental state, right?
Sure. And
you
these
you
are two
can
of
handle
those
low
slayers.
dice better than you can handle like a big.
These are two of those slayers that I've circled down here.
Yep.
Just a little bit of steelhead action there takes
Oh, yeah.
two of these slayers out, and then there's just a lot more dudes down here. So I think, I think that combined with the mental state that Corey's probably in after a situation like that, he's not going to be nearly as frustrated. He's going to be making better decisions. He's going to be doing that kind of stuff. So Alexia has been killed. No risen
counter.
No risen sacrifice. Tony, we can get rid of the risen counter. No more Alexia. Poor Tony. He only got to use it once.
That was disappointing.
Yep.
Goodbye, risen counter.
Goodbye, risen counter.
Maybe someday we'll get to use you again.
Someday. Keep it ready, Tony. Keep it ready. Oh, we got some pretty aggressive slaying going on here.
Look, when your name is Slayer, you gotta slay.
That makes sense.
Slayer's gotta slay, dog.
Why isn't that a mini crate model? Like a Slayer riding around in Santa's sleigh.
That would be way too expensive.
It would be a mini crate battle engine.
Wow.
What are you talking about? We
You should
can make
keep the ideas inside.
Do everything you just did, but keep it inside you.
Those sound like great ideas to keep to yourself. Let's not speak those into existence. So Aaron about to cross the 10-minute mark on time.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of as I brought up earlier, Aaron's current plan to win this game is Corey clocking, right? So, like, if he's not winning on scenario, he's not scoring points, he has very few ways to score points. If Magnus stays safe, he can't really assassinate. Magnus is not an easy caster to kill, especially now that he's got Bullet Dodger on him. Very, very hard caster to kill. So Aaron's entirely in on clock here. So if Corey, and I think that's so with that in mind, I think I really like Corey's decision to let Alexia die and keep those risen, because you could just gum up the works again, right? Like you can just gum it up in there, make Aaron make these attacks, don't run out of clock. Start scoring your own flag. Maybe you can pull this to turn 7 in 3 minutes, which I think would be truly impressive. Very, very impressive if Corey can
swing this around.
Can swing this around in the last. I mean, he's taken 2 turns already since 15 minutes, right? So he had like a 5-minute turn, and then he had like a 2.5-minute turn. So here we go.
Slayer trampling here.
Slayer's trampling. I'm gonna bet that Slayer gets killed by Magnus.
Yeah,
that's my guess. All right, so he's getting 2 risen in there. We got Colin Hill there in the background.
That's right.
Another great Australian. Bought an attack on Iris.
Iris is murdered.
Goodbye, Iris. I want to know when this Gorman right here is getting in this game. That's what I want to know.
Maybe it'll be now.
He's been hanging out. He hasn't been doing much.
Look, Gorman's worked for Magnus for a long time. He understands how the game is played.
He's playing the long con.
You just hang back. You
Sure.
get paid either way.
Sure.
So we've crossed the 10-minute mark for sure.
Absolutely. And he's still got 3 or 4 Slayers left to do. Like, this is going to come right down to the end, I think. I think Corey really playing this denial scenario game for Aaron is really paying off.
Especially if you can make those tough rolls.
Yep. So Hutchuk hit his tough check, bought another attack. Asphyxies is just racking in these souls. We got a Wandering Slayer coming in here. Oh man, I'm like getting really nervous right now. Like, just as a player.
You feeling it?
Oh god.
I mean, this is not the position either player wants to be at this point.
Like I get nervous at sub 20 minutes, and we're at 8. so like I'm starting to bite my nails over here as a commentator, and I don't even have a horse in this race, right?
I think I've clocked myself as a player twice.
Sure.
In a tournament, and both times I swore it'd never happen again.
I
will either lose by the 12-minute mark.
I think I've only ever clocked once in a tournament, and it was at a TempleCon. I remember it quite vividly. It was not a good experience. It's not really something that I want to really ever happen again. God, this is happening, Schick.
It really is.
Oh no, a 3. That poor little chicken.
I think that's the thing, though. Like, for me, the desire not to clock is so strong that I will take insane risks once the clock starts to get to a point. Because I'm like, I don't have the control that Corey has to be like, well, I think I can whittle his clock
at 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of this round, Aaron did go up to 2 control points to Corey's 1. So it is a slight jump there. All right, Gorman, I want you to walk over there, and I want you to rust that guy like you've never seen before. You're at 6 now, buddy.
So there you
can
go.
do it.
Magnus is going to walk around the flag.
Still touching the flag.
Yep. He's going to get some work done here.
Yep, we just bumped him back a teeny bit there.
Powerful
Powerful attack,
assuming
he's
the
boosting.
armor piercing is happening here.
I would assume so. He's got 2.5 minutes to make these attacks.
Oof.
Ooh, that's a 4.
That's not anything right there.
By boosted on 0, probably lose the game. That was the call.
It's not gonna be enough.
Nope. Man, I'm like on the edge of my seat here. Like, oh my God, he's got a minute 45. What is he going to do?
So here comes some charges from the blue halberds at the top.
I mean, he's got 90 seconds here. This is crazy. I'm pretty sure if I'm at 3 minutes and I'm playing this game, I'm not attacking anything.
No.
Right?
No, I don't think so, right?
Like.
So he took away the point. And now you're thinking too long. Go, Corey, go, go.
Yeah. I legitimately think I'm not doing anything. And that's a black oil to me, not a rust. I'm not attacking. I'm not trying to kill any of this stuff.
It's not going to work out here.
I want you to have to think about shaking. I want you to have to make attacks. I want you to have to do this stuff, man. Like, I think this yellow unit runs into the zone. That kind of stuff. So we are on round 5, which means Corey does only have to play 2 more turns.
With 52 seconds left.
With 52 seconds. Hey,
and
no, hold on.
a caster who is at 0.
Yeah, but he's got Bullet Dodger, man. Like, no. That's not a joke.
I understand that's not a joke.
Like,
by the same token, I don't know.
Like he's def 16, a Slayer misses once, it just walks out of melee, and then Aaron goes, blah, and wastes 2 minutes of his clock thinking about it, trying to kill this naked Magnus.
Is that the call here?
Yeah, man. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is your game plan.
2 minutes?
This should have been the game plan from the beginning, but it wasn't. But now it is the game plan. And
Sure.
the game plan now is to find a way to waste 7 minutes of Aaron's clock. That's the game plan now.
Now's the time when you pull out the phone and you start showing him pictures of your last trip.
You're like, oh, man, did you see this sweet brisket I cooked last weekend?
No, that's
and
the
he's like, dude, I'm trying to kill
there.
you.
Just pulls out the barbecue pictures. Look at this meat that I cooked.
And
it
like
was
maybe
amazing.
he just like forgets he's on a clock.
Yeah,
and then you just win the game.
And you just win the game.
Yeah, like I'm just saying
it's
possible.
It's above the table games that matter now. I'd just like to point out that I believe I wrote about a battle report that you and I had where you played Pagani mind tricks on me to win the game unfairly. And now everyone knows it's true.
It was fair. Everything about that game was fair.
Everyone can see that what I was writing about was absolutely true.
Look. I've played an awful lot of games in my life, Schick. And all I'm going to say is sometimes when you're playing a game, you just have to rely on your opponent being a ham sandwich.
I see.
Okay?
I see.
When you're like, I got nothing. But you know what? Maybe he'll just forget to attack.
Right. Maybe he won't roll dice.
Or I mean, like it. I mean, it
like right now, you want him to attack.
It literally happened in this game, right? Like maybe he'll just not move his unit leader, and then 7 guys won't get to attack, right? Like it happened right here.
Except at this point, you want him to attack with all those guys so that his clock gets used more.
Well, I mean, at the moment, Aaron has spent 2 minutes thinking about things, which is absolutely not what I would be doing right now.
The mania is really set into your eyes. I wish people could see you right now.
That's what I'm saying, right?
You look like a trapped weasel. Like you've been put in a cage. And
there's absolutely no way that I would be doing anything right now that is not like
you have 5 minutes. Freaking out right now. You need to just calm down.
Don't do anything.
Calm down.
Put things in zones. You've got a CP on him.
I mean, this is
you got this much time. Just go.
Going crazy.
Just go for it. Like you don't need to punch Risen. Risen don't matter.
None of it matters.
You got a Slayer in a zone that's surrounded by 3 steelheads. It's fine. It's not going to die. You'll never lose that zone. He's got 52 seconds. If he attacks it to kill it, he loses the game. Like
the most stalwart of defenses, the clock.
Look, these are the kind of games that people can really, really gum up and lose because nobody has practice in these situations, right?
I mean, you don't normally practice at 52 seconds with 428.
Right. But this is what I'm saying from Corey's perspective, right? It's the like, maybe he will be a ham sandwich and his clock will run out.
Maybe.
But like, so I guess the only thing that I would do is make sure I score my flag.
Sure.
And I would literally not activate any other model.
Well, I mean, at this point, why even activate Magnus? Just leave Bullet Dodger on him, leave him with a ton of focus.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Just pass the clock.
Actually, probably what I would do is I would allocate no focus, and I would just start running at Asphyxia. Like, with Bullet Dodger and all of my focus. Like, the Steelheads will move. We'll put 13 of them in each zone. And then Magnus runs at Asphyxias. And then Asphyxias tries to kill you, or 3 Slayers try to kill you.
I feel like 3 Slayers can probably get the job done.
I'm just saying, if you die, you lost the game already. Right? Like, you have 52 seconds. Sure. So if you die, that is not Asphyxias, right? Whatever that is that just moved. Okay, no, he's back on the flag. Good. Okay. If that was Asphyxias, I'd be like, Aaron, no. What are we doing?
You said ham sandwich.
Yeah, well, there you go, right?
I don't even know what that means.
Like, it just... You can't all your focus. You run at Asphyxias. You got 52 seconds. If you die, you lose the game.
I just love the image of a fully raged Magnus on his crippled leg.
Like you take a free strike.
Sure, yeah.
From a Slayer, like great. Whatever, man.
Just take all the free strikes.
Yeah.
This is the worst advice of War Machine ever given.
No, it's not. Corey has lost this game. This game is over right now. Right now. So if you just run at Asphyxias next turn, take your 15-second turn, you got 45 seconds to kill this guy.
Yeah, but what is Asphyxias going to do? He's just going to sit on all his focus. You're going to run into him, and he's just going to stare at each other.
And then you armor pierce him and roll an 18 like a boss. Like, that's what you do.
Roll an 18 like a boss. Sure, got it. Oh, my gosh.
I wish I knew what was happening right now, chat. Pagani's lost his mind. So Magnus got knocked down.
That's great. That's terrible.
It's terrible.
All right.
Depends on which side of the table you're on.
Magnus is dead.
Magnus is going to die.
He can no longer dodge bullets.
So there we go.
There we go.
All
We got a
right.
combo strike. All right. There we are. We didn't get a chance to run.
We did not. We did
didn't
not
get a chance to
We did
run.
not get to implement Plan Pagani Omega.
Look, man, when you're down to 50 seconds,
Sure.
and it's
sure.
just time to go. All
You
right.
know what? I got it. I'm with you all the way. I just think the madness in that plan was
it's
choice. It was choice.
It's not a good plan.
It was
it's
a
just
terrible
the plan
plan.
you got.
But I appreciated it. I definitely would have used it myself.
Yes.
So thank you very much, guys, for joining us for this game. Congratulations to Aaron for pulling out a great win, and for Corey for playing a really tough matchup and handling it with pure class the whole way.
Absolutely.
We will be back tomorrow for Primecast Live at 9 a.m., actually. So come, we're going to talk about all things Lock and Load. We're going to give you a big wrap-up. We're going to have a ton of people on stream. That'll be with Hungerford and myself.
For a little bit.
You'll be there for a little bit as well. And then after that, we're going to pick it right up with the last 2 rounds of Iron Gauntlet. You're going to see a bunch of Wills commentating. It's going to be an amazing matchup. And then at the end of it, we're going to crown a world champion for this year.
Billy.
And they're going to get a gauntlet that they can put on their fist and wear.
And maybe punch people?
That is not... No,
don't do that.
No punching.
Don't do that.
Not until they leave the building anyway.
Okay,
but
fair
anyway,
enough.
thank you very much for joining us for a great day of streaming. We look forward to bringing you back tomorrow. 9 a.m. is when we kick things off with Primecast Live, followed immediately by the last 2 rounds of Iron Gauntlet. I'm Will Schick.
I'm Will Pagani.
And we will see you tomorrow.
Just run your caster at him.